Hello everybody, welcome back to Bramski Vlogs. Matt here with another ski chat. Hope you're all doing well wherever you are at the moment. I'm actually coming from a very cold and even snowy UK at the moment, which is a bit rare often in the UK. It looks like winter's not finished here, and it doesn't look like winter's finished in a couple of places in the mountains either. I've seen lots of places in Europe getting some snow right at the end of the season. Shame we can't enjoy some of it, but welcome back anyway. Had a couple of weeks off. Please do support the channel. You can like this video, leave a comment, and also subscribe to the channel, whether you're a new person to this channel or also a regular. It'd be great to hear from you, so let me know in the comments. So far on this ski chats, we've covered seasonal work, we've covered ski lessons, skiing in the States, ski journalism, amongst many other topics. Today, we're focusing on mountain experiences. More specifically, we're going to be covering one of the most exhilarating and adrenaline-fueled activities there is, which is heli skiing. Now, if you're not sure what heli skiing is, then here's just a little video to show you. Okay, right. I've always wanted to say this. 3, 2, 1, drop it! Woo! Oh yeah, baby! Woohoo! There you go. That's just a little bit of a taste of what heli skiing involved. God, that's got me catching massive winter feels, that, and missing the snow. But rather than have me go into detail about what it is that involved, what I've decided to do today is I've actually got back in touch with the company who I went on that heli drop with a few years ago. And I'm delighted to welcome Tom Jeffery, who is the co-founder of Val Heliski. They're a company that are based out in the French Alps, close to the Italian border. Tom was kind enough to agree to come on today. I expect he knows a few more things about the activities and the operational side of heli skiing than I do. So welcome, Tom.
Hi, how you doing?
Yeah, I'm all right, thanks. How are you?
Yeah, very good, very good. I'm standing in quite an interesting location, actually. I don't know, that's quite a famous view. So that's the Team Valzer Dam just there.
Oh yeah.
Over here, just to the background, you've got, it's a bit cloudy, but you've got the Mont Blanc just through there, which is basically where some of the most epic heli skiing is in Europe, which basically means in the world. So quite a cool little spot to be, you know, having a quick chat with you.
Yeah, no, the background is perfect. Yeah, just what we need. Listen, thanks very much for coming on. How we start these, it's very straightforward. We want to try and get to know the guest a little bit. So you've kind of already just told us sort of where you are, but just tell us a little bit about, you know, what things are like right now in the Alps. How are you yourself keeping busy? And how did you come to be working in the mountains?
Right, so there's quite a few questions there. So I started up Val Heliski with my wife 2008, 2009 from our house in London. Claire was a lawyer, I was a child surveyor, but we were both incredibly passionate. Claire was an ex-snowboard pro, passionate about skiing. I met actually Claire, my wife, doing a ski instructor's course in Canada, and I suppose that's really where the stimulus for heli skiing and all that sort of surrounding enjoyment, etc., came from. So I suppose it came from our, you know, the first season we did in Canada, and then it stemmed through into us doing our qualifications. I was child surveyor, Claire was a lawyer, and really trying to work out how to get back to the mountains and sort of fulfill a dream. And the dream actually wasn't necessarily a heli ski company. The dream was a heli ski lodge. That was the dream, and we're still trying to affect that dream. So this started, God, yeah, as I said, 2009, 2008, 2009. The company's been doing, progressively better each year, but fundamentally the zenith, or the sort of the real dream, was to have this heli lodge, which actually hopefully we'll start building this summer. So it's the passion, I suppose, of heli skiing plus off-piste skiing, which was the driver, and then wanting to live in the mountains.
Yeah. And I mean, a heli lodge sounds great. I mean, we're definitely going to have to get into that later on in the interview. But I mean, we're sort of coming to the end of the winter, and obviously COVID having the effect it's had done, the mountains have been pretty quiet. So how have you kept busy? Have you been able to do heli skiing or?
Yeah, so I don't know. I'm sort of, I've got an entrepreneurial spirit, and when people are saying the lifts are going to be shut, I'm thinking, well, maybe that means there's an avenue for more people to want to go heli skiing, and that sort of hasn't really materialized, because fundamentally heli skiing is banned in France. It's only available in Italy, and the borders have been very difficult to cross with COVID and the implications of that. So, where I thought maybe the only game in town was heli skiing, fundamentally it hasn't really worked like that. And there was a window where you could cross a border just with an antigen test, which takes 15 minutes, which wasn't too draconian for us to actually do some heli skiing. But that window closed within, I don't know, 6-7 days, and then there was a PCR test. It takes 24 hours, 48 hours. It's just a much more difficult, time-consuming, and laborious process, really. So I think by as I said, they had a week's window. We did quite a lot of heli skiing in a week. It was pretty epic. The conditions were epic. We got all our sort of what do you call sort of seasoned heli skiers down, the ones who have, fortunately enough, capacity to get here in their own planes, and then they could be in and out very quickly, which obviously was the game plan this year. And then since then, it's really just been ski randonnée, ski touring. So everybody's got very sore feet, I think, is how everybody is in the Alps, waiting for helicopters or lifts to take them up to the top, because ski touring, etc., is brilliant, but it's full on. It's hard work. You need time, commitment, effort, fitness, and if you don't live in the mountains, also you need to be sort of used to the altitude and all that comes with that. So people coming on holiday, then walking up 1,000 meters is tough. It's tough for me to do 1,000 when I've just flown in. You really need to be here for 2-3 weeks to fully acclimatize to altitude, etc. So it's been fun being here. It's been empty. It's been French. There's so many internationals here usually, but it's just the French market. So I suppose there has been upsides. It's been very quiet, which is beautiful, but it hasn't had that same, I don't know, amazing sort of feeling of, I suppose, young and old people having a great time together. It hasn't been that at all.
Yeah, and I suppose where you are right now, obviously, Tignes and Val d'Isère are very popular destinations with international people. How are the locals feeling? Are they missing the tourists?
Well, certainly, I think a lot of people are they missing the tourists? I think everybody's just missing normal life, really. As I said, there are some small upsides. Having very quiet slopes is, I suppose, you could call that a benefit. Obviously, with heli skiing, it's always quiet on the top of the mountain because you've got everyone there. But I suppose you could find benefits. People have got a lot more time. I now go into a shop and I study which Satsuma I'm going to buy before I probably just Satsumas in a basket and run out the shop as quickly as I could. Because I have something else to do. Time. I have more time. Do I use it especially well? I don't know. You know, and that's what this year's sort of been, really. It's been a bit, I don't know. It's flat's probably the wrong word. I've got 3 young kids, so that in itself is quite cool to be able to hang around with them more. But in terms of skiing, I think everybody just wants to get back to normal. And fundamentally, I want to get back to sort of heli skiing and all that's involved with that. You know, from the logistics to hanging out with guys who are younger than me, who work in the company, who always make it more entertaining. You know, it's. I think next year is going to be good. You know, I really do.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of, I think, excitement, and people are, of course, looking forward to next year. I think probably there's a lot more confidence that things are going to be, travel is going to be able to happen next year. And obviously, I think the summer is going to be a test of what might happen over in the winter. So people, yeah, I think people are quietly optimistic. But let's get into heli skiing, because I have a real mixture of an audience. You know, a lot of them are of all different ages. Some are brand new to skiing, and they've just discovered it, and they're looking for questions about it. But then there's some who have worked seasons or worked and have businesses. But some people might not have ever heard of heli skiing. So could you just sort of explain the basics of what is heli skiing?
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, we've as I said, we've run the company for quite a few years now. We've had all sorts of different people, from the bazaar to, you know, the really seasoned heli skier, you know, who come with us. The bazaar being, you know, the people who turn up with all the gear, and then they sort of, no joke, say, "How do you put your skis on?" You know, that has happened to us. So, you know, some people come at heli skiing with really no clue at all. But briefly, what heli skiing is not is flying in a helicopter, opening the door and jumping out, and then hoping for the best that you're going to land. It's all very, you know, it's all very sort of regimented. There's certain heli landing zones, and that they're basically because they're out of the wind to make it as safe as possible. And each one of those zones will have, you know, a million routes down. There's never the same route. You know, there's always a different face, slope, trajectory, etc., that you could take from those. So in terms of that, it's regulated. It's bombed. The guides are out in the morning, making sure it's safe with avalanches, or as safe as it possibly can be. So in theory, it's actually, you know, safer than probably in resort off piste. One, we don't take as many risks, so we're not looking at super steeps. We're looking at, you know, 30 degrees, you know, the sort of thing where slab avalanches and the sort of high risk factor is taken out. So it's more of a, you know, we're not looking to scare people. We're not looking to, you know, you get enough adrenaline from the bloody heli ride and all that other stuff. You know, fundamentally, you don't need to be skiing super steeps. And if you want to be skiing super steeps, you need to be, you know, not going with a commercial heli ski company. You need to be in Alaska, and they won't let you go unless you've already done sort of 12 weeks of training. You know, so all this stuff you see in videos of people skiing super steep 45-degree angle slopes, it's that's videos. That's not real life. And as I said, you know, we started up the heli ski company here because I proposed to my wife, trying to organise heli skiing in 2009, and fundamentally we couldn't really find. It's very ad hoc. You know, there was nobody who we could find who could, you know, pick you up from your house, give you a pat lunch or picnic, or, you know, what we thought, you know, the skis, you know, sponsored by Salomon, so we can provide all the kits. So what we wanted to do is create something which was actually like a proper service, rather than what we had was get a taxi, meet a guide. Guide didn't know where the helicopter was going to land, so we then got another taxi. Then we sort of we had a great day. Don't get me wrong, but it just was sort of, you know, just like sort of back of fag packet, disorganized. That's how we came into it, and that's what we wanted to change. And I think that's exactly what we've sort of done. You know, we've got the vehicles, we've got the awesome guides, sponsored by Salomon. You know, we've all got all the sort of newest, latest kit, and then we're trying to also blend that in with really good sort of experiences of Italian cuisine, or you know, as I said, wilderness picnic, or all the other sort of fun stuff that you can do in the mountains on your own. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And is there a certain level you have to be at skiing wise to be able to do heli skiing?
Well, that's another interesting point. So I talked about the sort of sublime and the ridiculous. You know, we also a couple of years ago had a sort of Eastern European guy phone up and said, "Look, I want to take my girlfriend heli skiing, but she can't actually snowboard. She can only do falling leaf, which falling leaf is where you just don't turn. You know, you go one side, stop, go the other side, stop, go the other side. So she couldn't even turn. So, you really want to take your girlfriend heli skiing?" And he was like, "Yeah, no, I really want to do this." So I talked to my cousin. They said, "Look, we can do the first half of a very flat off-piste heli ski run. We can do that, but it's going to be cut in half. You know, and you know, if you want to do it, we can achieve it. But it's, you really sure you want it?" "Yes, I'll definitely." And he ended up proposing at the top. And so you know, I still think it's absolutely insane that she said yes as well, which is a miracle. But I don't think she's expecting to ski back down. I thought she would probably thought she was getting back in the helicopter and off they'd go, but no, she's definitely in for an interesting life with that gentleman. So in terms of ability, look, that is the ridiculous. You know, we wouldn't expect people to be turning up to that. And as you know, most of our clients will use the chairlifts to get to Italy in the first place, so we can monitor their sort of skill set, etc., etc. Then we can be sort of thinking about which runs are suitable, because there are more challenging and there's less challenging heli skiing, like everywhere. You know, you could do blue run heli ski or you could do a black run heli ski. You know, and that really depends on the ability of the client. You see that at the beginning, unless they're sort of seasoned heli skiers, and then you know, still the first run will be easy if we haven't heli skied with them before, because you got to check it's all as safe as possible.
Yeah. And so where can you go? Because you just mentioned, like, obviously specific heli drops, but then you also mentioned that, you know, in France you're not able to do heli skiing, and from my experiences of visiting Austria a lot there's not many places you can go either. So is Italy like the destination, or?
Yeah, Italy's the destination, but you can drop at the top of Italy and ski back into France. So you know, that is the border there. You know, I don't know if you can see what you can see here, but it's all looking a bit green. But behind that is a massive mountain called Grand Sasia, and behind that is the best heli skiing in Europe. So really, the closest place, give or take, for a really good resort, a world famous resort, to that heli zone is Val d'Isère. And Val d'Isère used to be, before it was banned, the sort of mecca of heli skiing. You know, we've had 75-year-old clients, female in particular, who said, you know, in the 80s, early 80s, before it was banned, you know, this was the spot for heli skiing, Val d'Isère. But obviously that was banned, and now it's now you have to either use the lift system from La Rosière La Tuile, which is just over there, La Rose, and then you access Italy. It takes about 45 minutes to ski there, or you're taking a chopper straight across. You're landing in Italy, then you're taking that helicopter up to the summit, and then you're heli skiing. So it's very accessible from Val d'Isère. It's sort of very accessible from all the resorts, really, in the Tarentaise. So Les Arcs, Maribel, Courchevel. You know, Val Thorens is a bit more expensive, a bit further away, and all sort of helicopters, the cost is per minute, and it's really how far you're flying, and it massively scales up with that. So you don't really want to be flying that far.
No. I think when we sort of did an option with you guys a few years ago, this was when I was working. I was working in Lehman Weir, and you guys just picked us up in a van, and we drove from Le Manoir up to La Rosière, as you just mentioned, got the lift over into Italy, into La Thuile, and then from there, gosh, I reckon it must have been simply a matter of minutes in the helicopter to go there and there, and really quickly. But all ran smoothly, and as you.
It's a lot cheaper to do it that way. So if you're looking for something which is like sort of an entry level heli ski day, that's the way to do it. Because helicopters are expensive to buy, plus they're expensive to run, plus pilots are expensive because they're very skilled people. So all this sort of surmounts in an expensive hobby. So getting to La Thuile by lifts cuts out a lot of that expense. But there's nothing more James Bond than taking off from Maribel is particularly, I think, my favorite airport or heliport. Is stunning. Tree lined, and if you want to be James Bond for the day, that's the way to do it. But it will cost you quite a lot of money. So everybody's got a different budget, and quite a lot of it's done to age fundamentally. The older, the more mature heli skier usually has more disposable income than somebody who, like, you're very fortunate to have already gone heli skiing, in a way. So a lot of our old clients will fly direct in by helicopter, and a lot of the younger sort of people who are just beginning with heli skiing will take the lifts. It seems to work like that.
Yeah, no, that was my first introduction into heli skiing, and then we actually, I know you mentioned touring. I think right at the end of that season, we actually used one of your guides that you work with just to do a bit of touring the day after I think the resort had technically shut. So obviously you guys have got that Solomon kit on hand, and I love Solomon as a brand. I think some of their sort of their backcountry off-piste gear is top notch. But yeah, so for anyone who's wondering, each of your heli ski trips that you would do, there's a guide with them, yeah.
Yeah, well, absolutely, and it's not a ski instructor; it's a mountain guide, and it really this could get me in a bit of trouble, but really I'd recommend from my experiences you want to go with an Italian, because fundamentally they're doing it every day. Every day, and they're heli ski specialists. And if you go with somebody who's not doing it every day, you're just not quite getting this sort of knowledge, and it's really down to snow quality. What you want for heli skiing is perfect snow, and these guys are sort of they're like truffle hunters. They'll be flying over in the helicopter and they'll be saying, right, that's it, that's the pitch, that's the slope, and they can see this. They can see the different grains in the snow to see the quality of the snow, and almost every day is a powder. If you're not getting powder heli skiing, then something's going wrong. Or spring snow, which is equally as enjoyable if you get the right spring snow. So that's my reckon. And as I said, in France, a lot of our guides who work for Val Heliski are obviously French, and they know the resort like the back of their hand. So maybe it's an obvious thing, but I think pick local, and the guys who are local to the heli are Italian.
And another thing which I think some people will be wondering is, can you just go heli skiing at any time during the season, or are there specific periods during the season where heli skiing can take?
So usually it starts sometime after Christmas, because it's down to snowpack, how much snow there is, which is obvious. If there's not enough snow, you're not going heli skiing. So it's really down to how much snowfall they have depicts the start of the season, and then the end of the season is really back to, I suppose it's back to snow. You could be heli skiing in June. There's nothing to say you shouldn't be. It's just down to snow quality, I suppose, snow depth, and then that also comes down to safety. Just on that safety issue, you're not going heli skiing if it's It's not there's 5 ratings for avalanches. 1 to 5, 5 being the resort is definitely shut. 4, you really shouldn't be going off. But it has to be a level 3 for any heli skiing to happen. So there's rules in place to try and make it as safe as possible.
Yeah.
Because it's as with everything incredibly exciting, it's a bit dangerous.
Yeah. I mean, just hearing I can hear from your the mic on the phone that it's a little bit windy. So I'm presuming if there's a certain point where the wind is too strong, the helicopter is not allowed to fly either. So then you couldn't do it.
Yeah, absolutely. And the wind levels are completely different to where I'm sitting now on the top of the mountain. It's that the weather is incredibly frustrating, and this is why with our clients, what works with heli skiing is, most people have a week's ski holiday or whatever it is, maybe a couple of weeks a year, but they're there usually in resort for a week. That's the most common. So what we sort of say to clients, look, tell us when you're in resort, we will pick the best weather day in your 7 days. And the likelihood of that, it has happened a couple of times, but the likelihood there's no good weather days in a week is quite low, actually. But what you don't want is somebody really saying, I'm here tomorrow, I want to go heli skiing, and the weather's bad. Obviously, hopefully they've looked at the weather and they want to go heli skiing and it's sort of going to be clear. But the weather is probably it's one of the most frustrating things, and also it has to be, helicopters only fly. There's very low wind, and either very high cloud or blue skies.
So so let's what are some of the, I guess, sort of the better years that you've had with the heli skiing? Are there any sort of cool stories that you can share with the viewers?
Cool stories in terms of what?
Well, whether we're talking, say, about an insanely good power day, or whether a mystery celebrity, I don't know.
Look, if you're not getting epic conditions heli skiing, somebody's doing something wrong.
Yeah.
I don't know, what was your heli ski day like?
Insane. And I was massively hungover right at the start of the morning, but then once I got up onto the mountain, that adrenaline kicked in, and it was just a rush the rest of the day.
Yeah, and look, if it's expensive to go heli skiing, and if we're not doing our job right, the weather should be good, therefore the snow conditions should be good, so you should be having an epic day, and so really every day you go heli skiing should be epic. Is there like one outrageous day that I can think of? The best place to go heli skiing is where we call Little Canada. It's Val Gris, just over there. It's unbelievably beautiful. It's alpine. It's tree lined. There's a sort of old ornate Italian bridge. It is paradise. Actually, in the summer, it looks like the Garden of Eden. It's incredibly beautiful. And any time I go in there, I just feel, just feel incredibly blessed. And, it's a real, it's a real treat. There's no other way to put it. So any day there is one of the best days you'll ever have in your life.
Yeah.
So hang on. So when I go heli skiing, which I do as often as I can, when I go heli skiing, the night before, I am too excited. There's a woman who on our website called Kat Deely, who was I think Times editor, who basically said, and we took a load of journalists up heli skiing, and she was basically saying, it's like Christmas is tomorrow, and you're 5 years old, and it's still like that now. I'm 40 years old, and I still feel like that the night before. And I've been a lot of more than most heli skiing.
Yeah.
So sorry, I don't think I answered your question very well, but every day should be absolutely epic.
Yeah. No. I mean, it's a really good way that you put it. I mean, ultimately, every single trip that you put on is going to provide some form of experience or memory, for someone. So and that's kind of like one of the reasons why I brought you on, because I think a lot of people who go to the mountains don't realize sometimes that there are other things that they can enjoy or get involved with away from, say, a normal trip to the mountains where you're going up and down lifts and on the slopes all day.
Yeah, and just slightly off topic, but there's quite, with helicopters, obviously there's also things like heli tours, or there's also heli transfers, and just as a sort of something which is I don't know, something which I always find incredible is the clients who come in from, say, Geneva by minivan, get to Val d'Isère, and then phone us up and say we want to go on a half an hour sightseeing tour, and we just sort of think, it only takes 25 minutes from Geneva by helicopter. You might as well just sack off the minivan, get in a helicopter from Geneva Airport and fly straight to Val d'Isère, because you're going to see roughly the same stuff anyway. It's sort of two birds with one stone. So that sort of scenic tour type experience, obviously if you're doing it to only 10 minutes or something like that, it's more economic to do it like that. But fundamentally, if you're doing, and quite a lot of people do half an hour heli scenic tours, and really what I think they should be doing is just killing two birds with one stone with the journey in from Geneva or Lyon or Chambéry or wherever. So I don't know if that's a, so I suppose slightly off topic side point, but it's amazing how many people do that minivan to Val, then in a helicopter for a scenic tour.
No, this is no, it's really insightful. This is, and what I kind of want to just move on to now, I guess, sort of in the final third is maybe some of the operational stuff. So, what are the type of things that go on when it comes to running a heli ski company?
It's a lot of logistics. So we have an office with 4 whiteboards on it, and as I said, what we try and do is something which we've done, and which nobody else has ever done or tried to do, I don't think, is we pull people, because quite a lot of people go on holiday, 2 people, 3 people, maybe you go on holiday with a big group, but maybe only 2 of those group want to go heli skiing. So we're pooling people from different resorts and quite expansive area to the Tarentaise with, there's lots of big close resorts to here. So in that light, what we're doing is we're quite often mixing groups. So getting 2 people from Maribel, taking 2 people from Val, or 2 people from Courchevel, or and then fundamentally they share the cost. So that is probably the first thing on the whiteboard, is who's in resort at a certain period and who are they going to get matched up with. So that's the first logistical problem, creating groups of 4, because it's 4 in a helicopter, a guide and a pilot. That's quite a lot of the business. It's not that regular that people come as 4. It's not that regular, and so that's a sort of a bit of a minefield, a bit of a sort of a Rubik's cube of different sort of logistics to organise. And then, as I said, we're sponsored by Salomon, so then it's what equipment do they need? What ABSs do they need? Do they want a picnic in the mountains? There's a whole, we are a bit like Ryanair, because, fundamentally, not that that's a great company to be associated with. Fundamentally, there's so many different facets to heli skiing. Have you got your own ABS pack? Have you got your own transport? Have you got your own skis? Do you want to go as a private group? Do you want to go as a share group? There's a lot of different choices, fundamentally, and with that, everything's got a different so every group's different, is what I'm trying to say with that. And
So besides the weather and the conditions, what are the sort of challenges that you guys face when you're trying to do operations and heli runs?
Well, it's quite a well-oiled machine, really. You know, the guides are the majority of our guides. I say the average age of people who work for us are, you know, it's got to be in the mid-50s. So, you know, and to be a heli guide, you know, you really have got to be seriously experienced. And you're probably invited in from somebody who already is a seasoned heli skier, you know, as a guide. So these guys are seriously good at their jobs, and you don't want to be going with Dave, who's just passed his level 4 and he wants to get you in a chopper. That's not who you want to go and buy. You want to go heli skiing with. You want to go heli skiing with Alessandro, Ezio, these guys who are ice climbing in the summer, and they're done thousands of ascents of. That's probably one of the guys you went with. Is I don't know, but you know, ascended Mont Blanc in the summer, you know, 1,000 times. This is who you want to go heli skiing with. And because they're so experienced, you try and take out all that sort of personal human risk factor. So in terms of logistics like that, the weather is probably the hardest thing for sure. And I mean weather, avalanche risk, we can't go unless it's a 3 or below. Wind, yeah, I'd say the majority of the things that can, I say, ruin a heli ski day, but it actually just inhibits a heli ski day, is as I say, weather. You know, you don't really get any other. The guide's always amazing. The mountains are always there. You know, it's after getting the weather right, it's sort of, you know, we're in. You know, we've got our set of parameters, and we know what we're doing. So we're gonna sort out a fantastic day for somebody or a group.
Yeah. I guess, like with those guides, as you say, I mean, it kind of kills two birds with one stone, because ultimately they're very experienced, and therefore they're able to ensure that whoever goes on these trips are as safe as possible can be, and then focus on the enjoyment side of things and fun.
Yeah, and you know, our guides have been in avalanches, not with clients, but they go out and test all the avalanche zones in the morning. And you know, the times they get in avalanches is when they're testing these in the mornings before the heliski is opened. You know, they're bombing, they're testing, they're doing pat tests. They're, you know, it's a collective of highly skilled people trying to make a dangerous environment as safe as possible. And they're very good at it. Like, and they're also charming. You know, absolutely awesome people to work with, and also showmen.
Yeah.
So you know, they are entertainers, and that sort of, for me, who goes heli skiing a lot with these guys or with groups, or I take people, etc., etc. I always find it just very entertaining. Whether it's the banter or the skiing, it's just it's a good mix, you know.
Yeah. So we're almost coming to an end here, Tom. But things which, you know, if you could answer directly for people watching is, you know, why should somebody try heli skiing?
Well, you know, it's probably easier to say why wouldn't you? It's incredibly addictive. You know, once you do it, you're going to do it. You're going to do it again, I presume.
Yeah, when I get the chance.
Yeah, exactly. So, you know, it's not one of those things that you do once, really. Once you do it, you'll be like, I'm definitely doing that again. And there's loads of people who book one drops heli ski days and then say, look, we just got to go again. And they, you know, then go again for another run. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so I mean, what's next for then Val Heliski? Do you guys? I mean, obviously COVID this year, but do you guys now start turning ahead to next year? What's your plans?
Yeah, I'm trying to be so you know, for me, I as I said, I was a chartered surveyor, so my background's real estate, and I worked in London for 12 years in real estate, in various sort of roles in real estate, and ended up working for quite a big developer, and then had the opportunity over here to buy a site which is has capacity for some heli landings, etc. And it's an incredibly beautiful spot. So for me, that really is been almost my well, certainly this year has been my biggest job. So that will keep me occupied. Hopefully we'll start this summer, and it will take sort of 3 years to build. And in that light, we have job opportunities within Val Heliski, because fundamentally I'm going to be having to concentrate more on real estate, and therefore we put in a white lines for a manager's position at Val Heliski. So we'll look to be employing a manager role. And they will be looking after a team of sales, marketing, etc. So that will have to sort of work out the dynamics of how that works this summer. But I think we're busy with that. I think it's a big enough project as is. I'm really excited about next season, but fundamentally we've got quite a lot of long summer now. I've got a bit more ski touring in me. My ankles are sort of down to the bone with skiing, but still got some ski touring in me. I think probably get the bike out at some point and start cycling out the mountain, and then I just fingers crossed everybody sort of in France really. I'm not a doctor, so I shouldn't be advising, but really, hopefully, the vaccine gets well received here, and there's a big push, and everybody can start getting back to some sort of, I'd like just to see absolute normality, really. I'm all for that. So let's hope that next winter is going to be epic. And the other thing is, actually, just as a point, is we're getting quite a lot of inquiries now, because I think there's a lot of people who, as I said, I'm sort of 40. There's a lot of my peer group who are becoming 40 this year, and so that's the church in Poisse just going at the minute. They're 40 this year, and there's a lot of people who want to buy heli ski experiences for their loved ones, friends, partners, whatever, as presents. So actually, we're getting quite a lot of inquiries at the minute for next year for vouchers, to drop heli day from wherever they're going to go. So I think people have got a lot of pent up excitement, and we certainly have. And so hopefully next year will be cool. Good.
Yeah. Listen, Tom, I really appreciate you coming on and taking the time to sort of give an insight of heli skiing, and also giving us a look behind the scenes of Val Heliski. Where can people find your company online?
Well, it's just the website, and then obviously people can leave reviews on things like TripAdvisor and stuff like that. So and that's actually probably something else which we'll probably try and work on a bit this summer, is websites and SEO and all that very interesting stuff. But Val Heliski, if you put that into Google, you're not going to go far wrong, or anything really. Heliski France, Heliski Val d'Isère, Portugal, you'll find us. And that's something just slightly off kilter, but you're asking what we're trying to do this summer. We're trying to, as I said, we bought this land for the hotel. We're also trying to do a big push into planting trees and stuff like that to sort of alleviate any carbon effect that we have. Quite a lot of commentary around heli skiing is it's bad for the environment. It's there are people who aren't particularly keen on the subject sometimes, but what we're trying to do is be socially responsible. So if we can mitigate the CO2 we produce, and also then take up, say, twice the amount of CO2 we produce, then we're actually becoming net sort of takers of CO2, and that's, obviously we love the snow. We need the snow for our business, and it's something which we want to sort of push. And as I said, we started planting trees last year, and we'll continue to do that this summer. and hopefully, we're going to give each person their own choice to buy into that. So, people can contribute a tree, 20 quid or whatever it is per heli. And as I said, we will be doing that as a company on behalf of our clients, as our clients always talk so that's the sort of one sort of slightly off topic, but actually incredibly important part of how we fit in, I suppose, in our tiny little business fits the world, really.
Yeah. No, I'm really glad you brought that up. Actually, obviously, there's all kinds of initiatives going on. I've seen a few, especially actually within the mountains in France. There definitely seems to be quite a push from locals within the French Alps to do more on sort of protecting the environment, the habitat. I mean, it's such a unique and a beautiful place to be able to live and enjoy. So that's really interesting to hear that you guys are doing that also.
Yeah, well, as I said, we try and keep ourselves busy. It was something which we massively wanted to bring in anyway, and it's just because we had this capacity to buy this land, and then up in 2100, there's not a lot of capacity for trees. It's above the tree line, but when you're 1800, here you can see it's quite sort of alpine, and where we are, our heli lodge just down there in La Rose is absolutely alpine. So we're right next to a forest, and we have quite a lot of capacity to enlarge that over the coming years. We just bought another little bit of a farm down in Bourg-Saint-Maurice with where the Isère runs through, which will have quite a lot of capacity for planted trees as well. So that's something which hopefully will keep me fit, and I can keep on eating cheese and sausage and stuff like that.
Yeah, that sounds really exciting. That project with the hut and also incorporating the building of trees. And I'm really looking forward to seeing how that progresses in the next few years.
Cool. Well, I look forward to chatting with you again, Matt. But I suppose the progression of the heli lodge, that's something which I'm really excited about, and hopefully our heli clients will be looking at that, because we're going to try and create some sort of educational centre there with avalanche educational platform, and also ski touring, anything off backcountry heli skiing. As I said, we've got capacities to land helicopters in the garden, and we will have a proper sort of spa. So we're talking gym, pool, proper thalassotherapy sort of type spa. So a bit more, slightly less bien-être, slightly more sports focused.
Gotcha. Listen, Tom, we're going to have to end it there, but thank you very much for coming on.
Cool. All right. Well, lovely to talk to you.
Cheers. Thanks. And thank you very much, guys, for watching today. It's been an absolute pleasure to have Tom on to talk about everything that there is around heli skiing as a sport, as an experience, being in the mountains, but then also to give such a keen insight into Val Heliski as a company, some of the things that they are doing, what they're passionate about, what they offer to clients, a really sort of wide encompassing discussion, which I really enjoyed. If you want to find out more about Val Heliski, I will put the links to their website in the description below, but feel free to leave any comments about heli skiing or anything that you want to know, and I'll try and get back to them. But don't forget to like the video and subscribe, and I will see you guys next time.